Okay, so I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Luke, you're already top of Rocket League players. Your mechanics are unbelievable. Your game sense is unreal, and you gotta be just the smartest YouTuber out there. And I get it. You know, if I was you, that's what I would be thinking about me as well. You know, especially the whole smartest part. No, in all seriousness, I've put a lot of hours into this game, and I think it's safe to say that I could easily be at the point I'm at now with half the amount of time put into the game. And rather than making all the mistakes I made and taking 3,000 hours to get to GC3 or almost SSL, wouldn't it be nice if you could just do it in 1,000 hours? So yeah, in this video, I'm going over my worst 6 mistakes I made as a beginner that I think really held me back. And honestly, if I fixed, I would have gotten better way faster. Before we talk about my 6 worst mistakes though, I'm gonna do a seamless transition into the sponsor of this video, the Grand Champ Roadmap. If you're new here, the Grand Champ Roadmap is Rocket League's largest live coaching program that I actually run. Yeah, spoiler, we've now enrolled over 1,300 people into the program. And inside, what we do is take Plats, Diamonds, and Champs up to Grand Champ in just 6 weeks or less. At the time I'm dropping this, we'll have less than 7 days of enrollment and probably less than 7 spots left open in the program until we sell out and then go on pause until December. So if you're one of those 7 and you want to grab that GC or SSL title, DM me on Discord with the keyword 7 and we can talk details about coaching. Links down below. Otherwise, enjoy the video. Okay, jumping into it, mistake number 1 I made as a beginner was only doing flashy mechanics and avoiding the boring ones. Now, I know nowadays I'm much better, but when I started playing, I was a little bit of an untamed youth. I picked up the game in like 2015, 2016, and I used to see guys like Kronovi and Sad Jr. and Gibbs aerialing, and back then, all I wanted to do was the flashy stuff. I remember when I started playing, I'd basically do one of 2 things. I was either playing ranked or I was doing fast aerial training packs or redirect training packs. And while it's all great, it's all good to learn new stuff, the problem is when you only practice flashy stuff at the low ranks, you get to like Diamond and Champ and you realize that you can't do a basic air roll shot or like consistently hit the ball off the wall. It becomes a problem. I know these days I get a lot of comments on my streams or even like in the YouTube comments from people who will be like, hey Luke, I'm currently Diamond ranked and I can flip reset an air dribble and ceiling shot, but I'm stuck in Diamond. Why am I stuck in Diamond? And my response to that is, 1, you probably can't do all those things. You can only do them in free play. But number 2 is because you can only flip reset, air dribble, and ceiling shot. You can't hit the ball off the backboard or like recover on all 4 wheels because we kind of skipped that stuff. Maybe this was just a problem with me, but my advice is if you're still picking up the game, look, there's a lot of mechanics you gotta learn. You're gonna have to learn it all at some point. So as much as it's fun to train the flashy stuff, try to also mix in a little bit of like the vegetables, the stuff that you know you should train. Like make sure you can actually half flip consistently and actually wave dash consistently, and then you can kind of pick up and focus on certain things as you develop the basics. Number 2, my second big mistake when I started out was not doing training, specifically free play whatsoever. The only things I would do was training packs, like I said, or ranked. And the problem is with like the state Rocket League's in right now, with it being very mechanical, there's a lot of just basic car control stuff that you gotta get down in free play that you're honestly just not gonna learn in rank. When you're going through the ranks and you're trying to learn specific stuff, like, you know, the wave dashes, the half flips, but even as you get higher ranked, like you're trying to learn speed flips or wall play or backboard defense, you can train it in game, but you're gonna learn it much faster, especially in like the beginning stages if you literally have never even tried it before, by starting in training. I remember I was talking with Com on a podcast and he said if he could go back and he had to go pro again, he had to relearn everything that he now knows, he said he would do an 80-20 split on free play versus actually playing ranked. And while I agree with that, I think that's great. If you want to maintain your sanity and you're not like a free play addict, honestly, just like 50-50 or even like 40-60, put some time into training, put some time into free play, especially before you queue ranked, because just a little bit of that will go a really long way for helping you get better. Mistake number 3 was not watching my new Road to SSL series. No, that's obviously a joke. That's not mistake number 3. Mistake number 3 is avoiding certain mechanics. This is actually something that has kept coming up as I've gotten better. Certain mechanics come up and I'm like, pros can do this, high-level players can do this, but I don't really need to learn it, right? You know, I can get by with what I have right now. And while that's true, I also think a lot of it was just me being scared and not being confident that I could learn new stuff. Like, for example, speed flips. For the longest time, like, I saw players using speed flips and I knew speed flips would be good for me to learn. I didn't really want to learn it and I didn't really think it was necessary. And part of me was like, I don't know, it's gonna take me a long time to learn it. But the truth is, once I got started, I picked up speed flips in like a week or two, and now I use them literally all the time. In general, I think a lot of people, myself included, don't give themselves enough credit and believe in themselves enough. So yeah, mistake number 3, avoiding certain mechanics. Don't be scared to try out new stuff, because honestly, like, the stuff that you're scared to do is probably the stuff that you should be doing. Number 4, this one might offend some people, but it's caring too much about game sense. For the longest time, when I was like grinding through Diamond and Champ, I would watch all these YouTubers, all their like tutorials and all the pro level gameplay videos, and I was trying to figure out what makes these pros so good. And honestly, I think it got to the point where I was just completely overthinking. I mean, while it is good to watch like pros and to try to pick up on the game sense, like tricks that they're using, if you're a Diamond player, watching apparently Jack's 1v1 series, it's not gonna do that much for you. I remember I used to watch this stuff like thinking it was helping me, and the truth is, like, when you're at the lower ranks, learning how to outplay champ players is very different than learning how to outplay grand champ and SSL players. So at the lower ranks, I would really recommend you not care too much about game sense. Like, learn the basic principles, but don't obsess too much about how to, you know, strategies to outplay Diamond 1s and Champ 1s, because the reality is usually just getting a little bit better mechanics and focusing on the fundamentals is what's going to give you like 80 to 90% of your results. And a lot of the times trying to think a lot about game sense and teamwork, it just leads to overthinking and you just sitting there watching the game when you should just go hit the ball. Number 5, avoiding workshop maps. Now, when workshop maps initially came out, I remember I was pretty slow to adopt them. Like, I didn't start doing Lethamir's Rings until probably a year after they came out. And things like Dribble 2 Overhaul, Dribble Challenge 2, I like hated with a passion. Even when I started doing Lethamir's Rings, I refused to do Dribble 2 Overhaul. And of all my like regrets, if I could go back, I would have just started doing workshop maps way sooner. If you're like Plat, Diamond Champ, like literally intermediate ranks, I think the best way you can improve is to just start repping some of those workshop maps. Dribble 2 Overhaul, any rings map, Speed Jump Rings 3 by DMC are the main ones that come to mind. Like, if you do those, it is almost impossible to not get better. They train the fundamentals so well. Air roll, power slide, ground control, aerial cart control. You can train all these things in free play, but workshop maps are something that if you don't do, I think you're definitely just at a disadvantage. From the people I've seen coaching and the progress I've seen that players make on workshop maps, it's almost always the case that if you get better at workshop maps, you will rank up. You will get better in game. You know, if you can cut your Lethamir Rings timer down from 30 minutes to 20 minutes, you're gonna score more goals in game. Number 6, this might be the most anti-advice you might hear, but honestly, one of the biggest mistakes I made was too much grinding. Now, I know that might sound stupid. Yes, if you put more hours in, you probably will get more results out. However, I will say when I was starting out, I would put way too many hours in just one session. Like, the truth is, Rocket League is a very long-term game, right? You gotta learn a lot of different skills. You gotta get the muscle memory down for a ton of different things. You're gonna have to learn a lot of different game sense and mechanics aspects. So you're never really gonna learn the whole game in one day. Yet, when I was starting out, instead of pacing myself and, you know, doing a little bit every day, I would just try to grind air dribbles for like 3 hours in free play. And while it sounds great to use the motivation when you're excited about something, you know, go do it, you can probably relate that when you get like halfway through a session, when you've already spent like 20 or 30 minutes doing something, your brain kind of starts to shut off. You're not really learning after a certain point. You're kind of just going through the motions. And looking back, I think if I would have just paced myself, so instead of doing like 2-hour long session, I just did 20 minutes of something, I would have learned so much more than when I was just like sitting there blasting music, grinding the same shots over and over again. I'm sure we can all relate. It's not bad to have those moments, but overall, too much grinding just leads to kind of like burnout and playing on autopilot, when honestly, you could just split up those hours and get way more from it. Anyways, with that being said, those are my 6 mistakes I personally made. Hopefully they relate to you. Emphasizing flashy mechanics, not training or doing free play whatsoever, avoiding certain mechanics, avoiding workshop maps, caring too much about game sense, and too much grinding. And if you're noticing you do these same things, if you can catch them earlier on, you'll probably get a lot better, a lot faster. Anyways, let me know if you like this video or if you want to see more live updates. I've been posting almost daily over on my Instagram. It's just SpookLuke. I drop the best clips from these videos, my Twitch streams, and also just like any updates going on in life. So yeah, if you want to be the first to see new stuff, go check out my Instagram. I'll have it linked down below. Otherwise, as always, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video.